Okay.
Yeah. So we have any questions?
No from my side.
No, Suresh.
Okay. So today we are going to get started with Lambda functions. Okay. So what is AWS Lambda functions? Okay. See, let me actually log in first. Okay. So basically, as per, if you see the definitions, Lambda, I mean, let me open it. Yeah, if you see the definitions, AWS Lambda is a serverless, event-driven compute service that lets you run code virtually for any type of application or backend service. Okay, so basically what's happening here is, see, lots of time we need to run our code. Okay, I mean, if I give you a very generic example, like we guys installed Anaconda to run our Python codes. Okay, that basically means we needed a hardware machine, some RAM, some memory, some compute power, some tools, technology, some configurations. Okay, all those things were required to run a Python code. Now what Lambda is saying to you, it says you can use a serverless service. Okay, so a serverless service on any cloud basically means a service where you can directly go and start using it. Okay, so you will not have to configure any servers, you will not have to configure any uh, resources or those things. Okay, you can simply just go and start writing your own code or start writing your configurations. It is event driven. Okay, so we will learn about this once we start going into this. Basically this means event basically means something that happens in your AWS account. So let's say a file has been appeared in S3 bucket. Okay, or a file has been deleted from S3 bucket. A glue job has finished its execution. It might be successful, it might be failed. So these are all called events. Okay, so Lambda functions can be triggered by events also. So I know this might be confusing for now. So let's go and check its use cases. Okay. So what are the use cases? Okay, so these use cases which you can see in the console. So let's say we have a website. Okay, that website shows you a registration page that asks you for your name, last name, mobile number, email ID, some address, maybe credit card information, and few other things. Once you provide this information and click register, it saves the data at some storage location. Then it asks you to log in. You provide your ID password. It verifies the login credentials with your registered details, and it goes. It takes you on home page, and home page has multiple options where you can do variety of things. So in this website, when I clicked on registered after providing my all details, the data was saved. Okay, so to accept the data, to collect the data, and to save the data on some storage, you needed some code. Now that code can be written on Lambda functions. Okay, this is what second thing says. You can run interactive web applications and mobile applications backends on Lambda function. So whenever some users are taking actions, those actions can be captured and processed with the help of Lambda functions. Okay. We can have event-driven applications. That means if something happens in your account, you can take actions. So very generic use case from production is whenever some file arrives in S3 bucket. Okay, let's say some data is being processed on daily basis. Okay, and the file arrives on let's say morning time, but you are not exactly sure exactly at which minute or which second the file will be there in your S3 bucket. So you cannot schedule your Lambda function based on the time. So what we do, we schedule these functions based on event. So whenever a file occurs or comes into S3 bucket, the function is going to get started. Now Lambda functions can also be utilized in the case of automations. Okay, so you can have let's say you want to perform some automations in your account. Let's say you do some activity. Okay, you go on a glue job and you want to start that glue job every day 12 p.m. Okay, and also you want to make sure that some activities are performed before you start that. So all those activities, all those functions and features can also be automated with the help of Lambda functions. Okay, so we have variety of use cases or applications that can use Lambda functions. So once we write one or two programs, you will understand it better. So now I'll stop here. If you have any questions about this, you can let me know.
Dalit, so basically it's kind of an event trigger thing, or how do you say it's like a Unix server Lambda?
Now it's basically, if you see in very easy one-liner, it is just allowing you to run the codes. Okay, so to execute a code, you do not need anything, and with the code you can achieve anything. Like you can run backends, you can run automations, you can run event-driven applications, you can run data processing, and like those.
Okay.
So yes. Any more questions?
Yeah, Jalish. So Lambda would be like platform as a service, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll just come here. So I'll give you the demo of this Lambda functions that I have created here. How do we create a function and all those things? I'll teach you in the next class. Okay. First, let's try to understand what is it. Okay. Then we will see how. I mean, creation is not a big challenge. You just need to click a few buttons, then it's ready to be used. So okay, not like this. I have to say IAM. Okay, this is a real use case that I built in the Accenture. So what was there? We had multiple IAM users. Okay, we had multiple IAM users, kind of this list, and all the IAM users basically have secret key and access key. So if I go inside this one, and if I come here in the security credentials, we have a access key here. I mean, this user does not have, but definitely you can create this. You can create access key. You can say other, and you can just simply click on next. Provide some random tag, or maybe you can say test access key, and you can create this key. Okay. Now these can be these keys can be utilized by some software or by some humans to log in and work with the services those has been assigned to IAM user. Okay. Now thing is here is these keys are not automatically rotated. Okay, and as per some organization's policies, we need to rotate all the security credentials after 45 days. Okay. So now I have no option to do this thing. Okay, either I can come here and create new keys or manually. To do so also, like we had around 50 or 60 users. We need to verify actually. Users are tend to forget that whether they have created new credentials or not. Okay, and obviously third-party software. Like if I'm using this IAM users for third-party softwares, those softwares are not going to remember these things. So idea was to run a Lambda function, check inside the check for all users whether their keys are latest or not. Latest basically means if they are under 45 days. Okay, if they are not under 45 days, okay, if they are more than 45 days, like this one 145 days ago, we were supposed to go ahead and drop an email to those users or those concerned persons who are supposed to rotate the keys for these IAM users. Okay, so if I want to do this activity manually, I will come inside this. I'll go into security credentials. I will check when this was created. I mean, for this one, it's created 1 minute ago. Let's try another one. This user has keys, and this is created like 243 days ago, and this keys has been created at 208 days ago. Okay, a single user can have 2 access keys at same time. So I mean, like this is I have done for one user, and this is I've done today, but I have to do this activity every day, and I have to do it for all the users. So this is obviously a kind of a task that we need to automate. How can we automate? That is actually being solved in this Lambda function. So you guys got the context, what problem we are trying to solve here?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So we can come here now. I mean, as I mentioned, we can write code. So this is the code that I have written in this Lambda function. Okay, only this much of code. Okay, it is the same function. I hope you can get it better now. So, okay, before creating the function, obviously we have to create a IAM roles. We'll have to create a Lambda function. We'll have to choose the programming type of that. So basically, it's not a cumbersome task, but I'll explain you later on the chair. Okay. First, let's focus on the code. Okay. Programming languages that we are supported are 6 programming language. Those are Python, Go, Java, Ruby, and 2 others, Node.js and .NET, if I'm not wrong. But for our case and most of the places, we only use Python. Okay. Now, if you check here, first thing that I'm doing, the line number 1, I say import Boto3. Okay. So like we have seen how we have imported Boto3, we have imported NumPy, and we have imported some other libraries like those libraries. Boto3 is the library that is specifically created by AWS to work with AWS resources via code. Okay, if I say in easy terms, if something in AWS I would like to connect to, read to, or work with, I have to use Boto3 library with my Python code. Okay, this is also called Boto3 API or Boto3 Python's SDK, that is software development kit. Okay, so Boto3 is nothing but AWS SDK for Python. How it's going to be used, that we will see in this program. Now here, then I'm also importing date time and okay. Now I have told you in Python that there is actually no main function. Okay, like we were while we were working with Jupyter, like in the last 3-4 days or last 3-4 classes, we simply went ahead and started writing our Python codes. We never did it like, public static void main or main functions or those things. We haven't created any those such things. So in Python, main function is not necessary, but only in the case of AWS Lambda functions, there is this function called Lambda handler, and this is a kind of a mandatory function. Okay, until unless you mention Lambda handler, your Python code is not going to get started. And this is the entry point for your Lambda function. Okay, so first line that is going to be executed whenever you run the Lambda function, it is this line, and it always has to be in the same format. Neither you can change the function name, nor you can change the arguments to it. Okay, even the arguments are going to be same. You can obviously rename the names, but you have to use 2 arguments, and the value of those 2 arguments are not going to change. Okay, the uses of those arguments, and value might change, but uses of those arguments are not going to be changed. So this is the place where our function is going to get started, and you no need to call this Lambda handler. Okay, this Lambda handler is going to call itself. It's not waiting for some other functions to call. So I have mentioned this thing also, that no function gets executed until unless it is called, but Lambda handler can be called upon. Sorry, it can be called upon automatically. You no need to call it separately. Okay. These 2 variables has some important meaning, but for today's function, these are not being used. Hence, I'll skip it from the today's explanation. Okay, tomorrow we have one more example, then I will explain you this. Then first thing inside my function, what I do, I import Boto3 client. Okay, sorry, I create a client from my imported Boto3 library. The client I create for IAM service. So the meaning of this line is basically whichever service we want to create or connect with. Okay, whichever service we want to connect with in AWS using Python program, we will have to create the client for it. Okay, so since the syntax is always going to be same, you have to say boto3.client, and then you have to pass service name. For this example, it is IAM. Okay, and then you have to store the client's result in some variable. So on line number 8, on the left hand side that I have selected right now, this is a variable. You could have called it anything. Okay, now I'll comment this part first, and I'll simply uncomment this part. Now what I am doing here in this line is, I say using my IAM client. On line number 10, I say using my IAM client, I want to apply a function called list users. Okay, I want to apply a function called list users. So what you do, copy this list users, type it like this, list users Boto3, and it will open a Boto3 documentation page for you. Okay, so you can see it's under the IAM client, and here we have list users. The function of list users is it lists the IAM users that have specified path prefix. If no path prefix is specified, that is our case, we have not specified any path prefix. The operation is returns all user in Amazon service account. Okay, so what it says, this is the most important that I have selected. The operation returns all user in AWS account. So I come here on IAM page. This is the list user action. Okay, the current screen that you see, this is the listed users. So basically, if I come on that list user function, basically is going to come on IAM page and list all the users for you. Not eventually it's going to click on those, do click and all those things. Basically, it's going to return all those user names. Okay, then let's check its request syntax and response syntax. So it has very simplest of request syntax. Request syntax basically means when we are going to call this function from the Boto3 library, we will have to pass some arguments. Sometimes those can be mandatory arguments, or sometimes those can be optional arguments. For this particular function, all the arguments are optional arguments. Because how I can say this? Because nowhere I can see is required. Okay, if it is a mandatory one, after the argument explanation, you will see in the bracket it is required. It will be mentioned by the okay. So now what we are doing here in our code, we are simply saying list users. So this is going to give me all the list of the users. But how is it going to give me? Which format it is going to give me? That format is also mentioned in the response syntax. Okay, just come down slightly. Here we have the response syntax. What all we will get? We will get a dictionary. Okay, how I know it's dictionary? It is starting with a curly braces. You can see it is starting with a curly braces, and it has only it has 3 keys. Okay, first key is users, second key is truncated, third key is marker. Okay, now if you see users, what is the type of the value that user is having? It is a list. It is still here, and this is the value of this user's key. Okay, and this is a list type. Now this list again has a dictionary. Okay, on the 0th index, understand, on the 0th index of this list, we have a dictionary. Okay, we have a list, then we have a dictionary. Now what this dictionary has? It again has some keys and some values. Keys like path, username, user ID, ARN, and create date. Okay, we have multiple things like here. So what is the thing that I am interested in? I am interested in only and only getting the username. Okay, so when I come on this page, I'm only interested in the username. So when I click on the username, I list some other few more details about that user. Okay, so to list these details, I will need to pick the username. Okay, so I have to pick the username. Okay, so what I will do now, if you see my code, I say from the list user, I'm only interested right now in users. Okay, I'm only interested right now in users. Okay, what this is going to give me? This is going to give me this users. It's basically ignoring only these 2 keys. Okay, this data will be filtered out. I will get this list with me in my output. Okay, from this list also I only need username. Okay, that I'm filtering out in my next steps. Okay, you can see I'll come to this code from the let's uncomment this part first. You can see I say IAM.list users, like the same activity as above. Then I say users and every single user's detail. Okay, that means this much detail, like this is the single user's detail. Okay, its path, its username, its user ID, like this is single user's detail will be placed in a variable called user list. From this user list, I am picking only username. Okay, I could have done it like this also, but this might have confused you guys more. That's why I've kept it in 2 different steps. What we will do, first of all, we will simply run this code till here, like we will keep it commented and we will run. So I'm just going to copy it. Okay, before I run this, if you have any questions. And no extra questions, only about this particular code right now. Okay, I have to say a few more details, then you can ask any generic questions. But if you have any questions till now.
Jalaj, so here, right, IAM.list user. So you're taking only the user. So that's why you're giving your users, right?
Yes, I am ignoring these keys.
Okay, so inside user, again, we need to go to user's name. You can directly go to the username, .username.
We can directly go. That is also possible.
And also this Lambda handlers by default, right? For whatever it can be, these two lines we need to write for default.
Yeah, this is default. Okay, so let's execute this. I'll copy it. Deploy basically means save, nothing else. I'll click test, that basically means run. And this is what I get. Okay, if your response is null, that means you are all good. You get user test and its details. Okay, let me do it like this. Copy it. I'll go on JSON lint. I'll paste it and say validate JSON. Okay. So what you do now? What happened here? This is not a complete string output. Mostly on this window, we will not get complete output. So to get complete output, we have to go on a service called CloudWatch. Okay. So you have to come on monitor option. I mean, don't worry, I will again go through this and click on CloudWatch logs. Today, focus mostly on the code part. Okay, this is the latest log stream. Okay, it was executed on 22nd of November, like all others are previous month. And this is the complete output. I will paste, I'll copy this one. Copy it onto here. Remove this, paste this. I need to remove this bracket. I need to go here and remove this bracket. I will say validate JSON. This time it should work fine. Let's paste it on Notepad first to check what exactly we are pasting. A Notepad++ will be better. I should have it Notepad++. Okay. This is what we have. I remove this and then I remove this. How come it becomes invalid JSON? I mean, if I can convert this into JSON now, it will be easy to explain you guys. I'm not sure why I'm not able to do this. Copy. Paste. If I click on validate. Okay. And replace single quote with double quotes. Replace all. Copy. Not sure this usually works. If I use the square bracket as it is. Or maybe what we can do, I can simply copy one output at a time. So I'll copy. But this is only one output now. Okay, I'll figure out this, like why it is not working. It usually used to work to me always. Let's try with some other website. Pass here this value, remove this, validate. It actually formatted it, so this is better. So now it's more readable now. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So see, this is what we have in user. Okay, this is what exactly we have in users. Okay, If you copy its output, this is what we have here. We have path, and here we have path. Our path is root. Okay, we have username. We have username. We have user ID. We have user ID here. We have ARN here. We have ARN here. Create date and password last used. Okay. After that, we haven't set any permission boundaries for this, and we haven't applied any tags for this user. That's why these options are not present. Okay. And like if you see, for every single users, we have listed these things. Okay. So all those these different user detail. This is the different user detail. Okay. Like this, we have got all the users. Okay. Now, once we have got all the users, what exactly I need? I only need this thing. And if you check the output type, it is again a dictionary. Okay, it is again a dictionary inside a list. If you remember, I had removed the square brackets. Okay, so this is a list of dictionaries. Inside a list, we have multiple dictionary, and all those dictionaries are indexed. Okay, so basically, this complete is a 0th index. Like this is complete is a first dictionary, that is 0 index. This is a second dictionary, first index. Okay. So now if I come here, I'll comment this code because this was commented. It is not part of the process. Uncomment this one. Now what's happening here is, okay, I will list. This is I have already shown you what it's going to give me. It's going to give me list of dictionaries. And from that list, one by one, I am going to pick one dictionary. Okay. Remember, understand this part. From that list, I am going to pick one by one those dictionaries and place them in user list. Basically, I am converting this into this is my user list. Okay, this will be output in the user list when I fire this command, this for loop. It's going to convert that into this user list. From that user list, this is the thing that I will be picked in first iteration. Okay. And from this, I pick username. Okay. From this user list, I pick username key and store in a variable called user underscore name. Okay. I store that in a variable called user underscore name. Then my next task is to list the access keys. Okay. I mean, same thing I do on console. I come on that user. Let's say I come inside this user. I go inside security credentials and I list I get the access keys detail. Same thing can be done with the help of list access key. So I will open list access keys now. Okay, this is the list access keys detail. It returns the information about the keys associated with the specified IAM user. Okay, this is the request syntax for it. Kind of same only. We can provide username, marker, and max items. And this is the response syntax of this. It gives access key metadata in which we have create date option of that access key. That means we get to know on which date we had created this access key. And same thing we are trying to get. Okay. So what is happening here is this, like now we are working user by user. Okay. First user's detail will be picked up. Its username will be picked up, and using the username, I am calling list access keys. I am saying the argument username has this variable's value, and this piece of code is going to give you this syntax, this response syntax. Okay. From this response syntax, I have access key metadata as my first key, and inside that I have to access the create date. Same thing I'll do here. Again, I will apply a for loop. Okay, because a single user can have two access keys. Okay, if it were only single access key, then we no need to apply for loop. But as we might have two access keys, we need to check those with for loop. Okay, so I will say for user keys for this variable, find this, get this access key metadata, and then this list can have two values. Okay, hence I'm applying for loop, and from that first I do what I do. I check. See, this will be picked up. Okay. From this, I check status. If it is active, okay. If the status is equals to active, that means if the particular user is active, only in that case, I will perform next operations. What are those operations? First of all, I will get current date. Okay. This is going to give me current date time. Then from this current date, I am going to deduct the value that I have in key value create date. Okay. The whatever the value that I have in the create date, I am going to deduct that part. Okay. So once I do this, I am going to get active days. Okay. I am going to get active days. I am simply printing the username. I am simply printing that how many days have been there, like since the user is active. I check if active days are more than 45 days. Okay, understand this part. This is not a simple deduction. It is not a simple subtraction. It is actually a date time reduction. It's actually a date deduction. That's why this active days is not simply an integer. It's a date part, and the date part is days. It's actually days. Okay. So we'll have to use date time dot time delta, and we have to mention that this is days 45. Okay. Hence, we'll have to write it like this. If it is more than 45 days old, we will print the message that keys are expired and this needs to be rotated. Otherwise, we are going to say the user keys are latest. Okay. This is the flow of this Lambda function of this activity. Okay. In actual code, inside the if, I had used SNS to drop the email to the respected users. SNS we will learn in the project itself. We will learn how to drop emails from AWS Glue or AWS Lambda functions. It is not a complex task, it's a simple thing. So now, if you, I'll request you to go through this complete code very calmly. And if you have any questions, you can let me know.
As of now, no questions, fellows. I have to go through this code and understand it. So later, if I get any doubts, I'll ask you.
Yes, sure.
Jalaj, regarding that user keys, right? So again, you need to call that im.list access keys, because from this line, first line itself will get right on the users.
We will get users. If you check the users page,
That
this is
JSON
what
you got, right? Okay.
no, this is creation date of user, not an access key creation date.
Okay. Okay, like this, the above users, we have another one also.
Yeah, this is IAM users detail, and this is, you can see here list users.
Yeah, sure.
This access keys.
Okay, so here it will filter. My doubt is right. It's not like what I showed, but my doubt is like we are calling here for only for users, but how it's getting a corresponding users list access keys alone. So here the username is equal to username. So it acts as a filter here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is actually the use list access key is a list, right? Or it's a function. How this username is equal to username will work? No, that 15th line only.
Okay. So if you see here in the list access keys request syntax, okay, to pass this list access key with a username.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is the required input variable. Then you have to pass either a string, but we have a variable.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, if you have no questions, then I'll copy this code and execute this. We have to come here. Okay, this is what we get. So let's come on the CloudWatch log only. Open the latest one, stream. And this is, we have what we have got. So I'll just say display view in plain text. This is the access key metadata for access key demo user. Okay. This has these details. Status is active. That's why it got printed. And then it prints a message like username is, what I will do now. Instead of printing all those nonsense, I'll comment this part. And test it again. So now we are only printing these two lines. Okay. So it comes and it says, username is this access key demo. This is something we created today only. Then we have username, this username, this is 173 days old. And if you see this highlighted part, this is, I have not specifically printed like this. Okay. I have simply printed the value of active days. Okay. And this is exactly what it prints. It's print 130 days plus some minutes, hour and seconds. Okay. So this is a date type variable. It's not an integer. That's why we are doing comparison with time delta here. Okay. If you see this for all the users, it has like printed like number of active days, whether the keys are expired or latest. So for this one, it's latest only. For this one, it is kind of expired. So yes, if you have any questions.
Yeah, so within the IAM, I will be listing out all the users, right? So I would require set of permission or like my role
Yes.
should have permissions, right? Like
Yeah.
currently you are
If
the
you
root user, so you are able to list out all the users.
no, wait. It is not me because I am the root user. I am the admin user or I am the root user. I am able to do so because in the configurations, in the permissions, I have attached a IAM role. Okay. If you go inside this role, this has policies attached such as AWS Lambda basic role, and I have attached a customer managed policy that is IAM key access. Or you can also use IAM. Not here. Go in policies, actually, my bad. While creating the role, you can create IAM and you can attach this policy of IAM either full access or IAM read only access. This will also work. Okay. So how to attach this role, how to exactly create this role, we will see. So basically, this user right now has permissions to Get access key last used, list users, get user, and list the access keys. That's all. This is a kind of a customized rule.
Okay, if I have this permission, then only I'll be able to perform this
Not you,
function.
not you. Your Lambda function should have these permissions, not you. The permissions has been attached to Lambda function, not to you. Understand this difference. And I'm correcting it because it has to be fixed, because if something like this you say in interview, you will be rejected. You have to say it's assigned to Lambda functions, not to a human.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this has been very specific. Okay. I told you that we have this requirement. I know already this function. I already know which functions to be used. Now, if you come on this photo 3 page again, and if you slightly come out of this IAM, you see we have a lot of functions here just for IAM. For all those actions that we do on IAM, we have a function. Okay. So if you just go up and come out of this, here available services. Okay. On this drop down, just simply come down and you can see, let's search it here S3, not 2, 3. So I'll go in S3. And this is the client for S3, like copy object, copy bucket, create bucket, delete, and all those things. Now, the question might be in your mind, how do I remember all those things? Ideally, and practically also, you are not supposed to remember these things, okay? You are supposed to find, okay? Let's say now only I get this requirement, okay? Nowadays, we have ChatGPT also, so it's far more easy, okay? But let's skip ChatGPT or those services. Let's say I would like to list all users. Okay, I'm not aware of that. I'll say how to list IAM users in photo 3. Okay. You will get the list users functions by default. Okay. Also, you can say example Python. Okay. You can get some code. Now, to be a good coder or good data engineer or a good programmer, all you need to understand is all your knowledge base should be to come on online, search your content with correct keywords, and understand from there. Okay. Now I could have, without showing you this libraries page, I could have told you that list user list the users and list access key list the access keys. Okay. But my intention is when you come on these pages, you should be able to read and get the information from this. Okay. So let's say I read this, I open this copy object. Okay. Now I should be able to get the meaning of these things. Okay. So it simply says creates a copy of object that is already stored in the Amazon S3. As simple as that. Then you have more details explained. Okay. Like when it might return an error, how these things are authenticated, all those things. Okay. Now, if you come down, you have this request syntax. So you should be able to understand this request syntax. Okay. You should not be afraid that it is a long or it's a complex or like that. You should know what you have to do. Okay. What basically we need while we copy something. We need source information. We need target information. Okay. What in source information? We need file location and file name. And same thing we need for target information, like target location and target name. Okay, as simple as that. So where we have those things, okay. ACLs, something is not related bucket. Yes, it is target. It might be so source location, cache control, checksum, all those things looks again bit fishy or something.
Then we have copy source. This looks for our information. So you are not supposed to memorize these things. You are supposed to understand these things, that which is your information, how will you use this information to write your customized codes. Okay. So if you come down more, as I mentioned, for the mandatory arguments, you will have to say required. Okay, I mean it will say required. So while you write your copy object function, you cannot skip this argument called bucket. If you scroll down more, you will find out same thing is there for copy source. You cannot skip this argument. Okay, same thing might be there for target one. Ideally, it should be. Copy source is copy. I think that, yeah, key is there. Okay. So this is required. Okay, this is the target key. It says the key of destination object. Okay. So idea is to understand these things. You should be able to understand the codes. Okay. If you give an example codes, if you like, if I say to you, okay, I'll give you one assignment after I complete one or two more examples. If I'm giving some assignments, you should be able to search. If you get some relevant code, you should be able to understand that, and you should be able to modify that code as per your requirements. Okay. And as I mentioned in the demos, this is where I cannot make you an expert. I can take you to on the advanced level to understand these things and write your own codes, but I cannot make you memorize all these things. And we have hundreds and thousands of functions. I cannot make you memorize all those things, and that is humanly not possible. Okay, all those experts, like which function to you, like if you say between you and me. Okay, so I have written so many Lambda functions that I can my mind will automatically I might not read all this page sitting here, and I might not read it because I have already gone through it multiple times. I know which things to look for, and which if I'm getting some error, what it might be, why it might be. Okay, so I might be able to fix and solve the problems faster than you. Okay, but I also do not have memorized these things. I have no information available on these things in my mind. I simply know how to filter out the unrelevant information. Okay, and that process, that mindset needs some practice. Okay, and that practice you will need some time, and time is actually experience. This is how it goes. Okay, so if you come here before this class on this page, you might not be able to get any of this code. Okay, it's a simple one. Okay, it's simply this guy is again, if you see, kind of using the same format. I am list users, getting the particular user, and for that user, it's simply printing the user ID, it's printing the creation date, it's printing the ARN. Okay, he's simply creating a header information first, then he is printing it. Then this is the output of it. Okay. Now, if you are able to understand these codes, you are in good position. Okay, your start is very good. If you are not, then no worries. You all have to do is just practice a bit more. Create your AWS accounts, start practicing now, because it's now. It has to start now, today or tomorrow. Okay, you cannot lag from now onwards. Lagging basically means if I'm explaining some topic, you cannot lag. Okay, if I'm on AWS Lambda, you have to practice AWS Lambda, and not only one function. Okay, try to create some small 2-3 functions. Just try to think of some requirement. Okay, maybe not related to other services. Maybe stay on IAM. Just try to print all those details. Okay, just try to print these details. These details basically means just try to print all these details in a proper format. Just try to modify this date time to a date format. Just try to modify the number of active days from date time to integer format. Okay, just try to maybe filter out the IAM users which are not starting with A. Okay, just such small things. Just try to do those things. Okay, but practice with the small things. Okay, so yes, if you have any questions.
Actually, we are creating that Boto thing, right? Like an object we are creating, right? Starting. So for each one, we need to create one like that.
Yes. So like if I'm using services, yeah, if you just see this code,
And the name also should be same, like dot client inside the bracket you're giving, right? Like IAM passing the value. So it should, for S3 means it should be S3.
Yes. So if I give you this one. If you see this one, I am creating a client for Lambda. Okay. I should be creating a client for some other things as well. No. In this one, yeah, I create a client here for. Yeah, I do create a client. Yeah, S3 recognition.
So,
okay.
And in real time, it will be running in same way or some other way, like how we are running now, putting in a web URL.
For development purpose, it's going to be same way. For in the production, it might be time triggered or event triggered.
Yeah.
Not on the second. Okay, what you do now? Also try to go through. No, not this one. This one and this one. Go through this backup S3 files without regard. Just try to understand what we are trying to do there. Okay, then this is all from my end for today.